Brutal day YouTube. Lots of excitement at Meineke Sentiments, and but the old Jeep Pro pulled through with all his hair and teeth. So yesterday we had a guy come in with a Toyota, and what year, make, and model it is, it doesn't matter. Probably like a year ago or so, we did a partial front pipe, which was a minimum repair because the customer didn't want to spend the money to fix it 100% right. So then he insisted that we look at his car yesterday, and his shop was extremely busy, and we advised him, if you drop it off, we'll work it in between our jobs. Other than that, nothing we can do for you. You want to try and get in here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? I'd be happy to put it up there and see what's going on. So 8 o'clock he's there. I send Jude out to the car to verify the customer's complaint that it's making the same noise that it was when he brought his car here before. That's very unlikely, especially if we didn't hear it come in the parking lot. It's usually not the same issue. So then Jude brings it in the shop. We guide him up on a drive one because it takes two people. He hears absolutely nothing with the exhaust system. I hear absolutely nothing. We put it up in the air. We inspect the work that we did, which is perfectly fine. We weld everything in so we don't have any issues. And we look at the rest of his old exhaust system, which we had no parts of. And we're saying, okay, well, there's no exhaust leak. So I was like, all right, well, typically when I have this complaint, it's usually a wheel bearing or tires. So Jude and I move forward and inspecting the suspension. He's driving around with tires that belong on Fred Flintstone's car. Bald, flat spotted, square, all four corners. So I'm like, well, this is the guy's problem. So then further inspection is, it needs alignment, it needs four tires. The front struts are wasted, the front links are wasted. The sway bar, the frame bushing, there's nothing left in the bracket holding the sway bar to the front subframe. Go to the back suspension, needs rear struts, rear links, rear sway bar, frame bushings. So we send up, all the obvious problems, advised Rachel that this customer doesn't have an exhaust problem, regardless of what he thinks. His problem is in his tires, and his suspension needs major work. So Rachel comes out, looks under the car, and we show her what's going on. She goes up, talks to the customer, and he's like, oh, no, I had it at another mechanic, and he said the work that you did is the problem. And I said, Rachel, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the work that we did. And if this mechanic's better than me, take it the fuck back and have him fix it. Let him fix the exhaust, because there's nothing to fix on it. He didn't want to hear that the tires were trashed, and we didn't road test it, and I didn't need to, because we're checking his exhaust. But I could see by the condition of his tires and his suspension, it probably has wheel bearing problems also. Needless to say, he insisted that it was the exhaust, and I told him, well, you know better than me, and so does your mechanic. Take it there and have him fix it. Have a nice fucking day. I've been doing exhaust since 1991. I kind of think I know what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, I know what I'm doing. And I know better than most shops out here because I do exhaust work for at least 20 people within 10 miles of my shop. Exhaust manifolds, flex pipes, converters, flanges, patches. So my street cred is high, and we don't usually have any issues with our exhaust work. And if I do, it's usually because the engine is smoking or burning oil, or motor mounts are broke, or trans mounts are broke. And since I'm talking about that, our Mercedes guy sent us a van a month ago, and then he tells me what a piece of crap it is, and it just needs a flex pipe, and it should get a front pipe assembly with a cat, and he didn't want to do that, so I made a flex pipe up at the back of the engine, put it all back together, sent it on its way. And here you go, a month later, it's back. The bolts rattled completely out of the front pipe because the engine light's on, it's smoking, it runs like shit, and the motor and mounts and transmission mounts are completely snapped the fuck off. So I tell Rachel to call our Mercedes guy and say, it's not my job to tell your customers their car is a piece of crap, and whatever we do to the exhaust system isn't going to be permanent because the motor mounts, transmission mounts, and the engine are such junk. So I told Rachel I'll make the necessary repairs yet again under warranty, even though it should not be, because the engine and transmission caused the front pipe bolts to rattle out because when he's slamming it in between gears, the motor's going clang, 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 clang. That's not what it's supposed to do. And I told her to advise him, it's not my job to tell your customers that your vehicles are in major need of repair. And if he's going to bring me cars like this, then don't bother, because I don't want to work on them. So that was it today. So a customer and his mechanic knew better than me, even though his tires were square. My Mercedes guy didn't do a thorough job checking out a van that he sent me for repair. Of course, I took care of it because we have a long-term business relationship. But your customers need to know if your car is in bad shape, it's in bad shape. And whatever we do to it is temporary or minor or a minimum repair. And if they don't understand that, I really don't care. But, a guy that has 40, 50 years experience, he's Mercedes, not domestic. He should know when you put the car in between gears, it's clanking and banging. It ain't clanking and banging from the exhaust. Like, look at the car. Transmission mounts, front and rear snapped off. And then we had some more excitement today with Cinnaminson Police Department there, but I'll get into that another day. I'm happy to be home.